Most people aren't silent because they have nothing to say, but because they are cowards. You are one of them, hiding behind the safety of your own silence. The modern world taught you to avoid conflict, hunt for likes, and build walls around yourself instead of stepping into the light. But Joan of Arc wasn't looking for self-expression, and she wasn't practicing endurance. She was a peasant girl who challenged empires alone, because her truth was more important than her life. Today, everyone talks about bravery, but nobody wants to get burned for it. In this video, I won't show you how to find your voice, or how to fit in. I'm going to ask you one thing. Do you have enough fire in you to speak the truth, even if the world builds a pyre for you and waits for you to fall? Prepare yourself. This is not motivation. This is a declaration of war against your own cowardice, and it starts right now. The echo of unspoken truth. Deadly silence and the power of the crowd. Most people today live in a kind of invisible prison. It's not bars that lock us in, but the fear of what others will think. Look at yourself. How many times did you stay silent during a meeting? How many times did you nod at something you disagreed with, just because you didn't want to cause trouble? This silence is not peace, it is cowardice. When you suppress your truth, it's like rusting from the inside, destroying your spirit piece by piece. The modern world teaches you to blend into the crowd, to be invisible, and then you'll be safe. They want you to believe that if you never stand out, you can never fall. But safety has a price. You lose yourself entirely and forever, becoming just another shadow in the hallway of history. The fire of Joan, the rebellion of a simple girl. Now let's look back to 1429. Here is a young peasant girl, Joan, who had nothing, no money, no power, no military training. Yet, in an age when women had no voice, she stood before the heir to the throne and spoke the truth. She didn't do it because she wanted fame or to be remembered in history books. She had an inner drive, an inner fire that was stronger than the fear of death. She didn't calculate. She didn't think about how much approval she would get from people who didn't even matter. She stood tall when others were crawling in the dust. She simply couldn't do otherwise, because the truth was burning her soul like a physical weight she had to carry. Joan's example shows, real power doesn't come from rank or titles, but from the courage to speak straight when everyone else is lying to your face and to themselves. Beyond martyrdom, are you ready for sacrifice? We often hear "be yourself," and "let your voice be heard." These are nice-sounding slogans, but reality is much harsher than a motivational poster. Joan of Arc was eventually burned at the stake for her truth. So the question isn't how to find pretty words. The question is there anything in your life that you'd be willing to burn for? Are you willing to lose your comfort, your friends, or your safety because you refuse to live a lie? Are you ready to face the cold wind of rejection? The word of fire is not about everyone loving you. It's about finding that truth which is more important to you than your own peace of mind. If you are not willing to make a sacrifice, your voice will never carry any weight. It is nothing but empty noise in a world that is already too loud. Ask yourself today, will you die as a whisper, or will you live as a flame? The forge of conviction. The inner war, certainty against the lie. Many people believe that conviction is some pleasant, comforting feeling. In reality, it is an inner war. Imagine that the world is screaming from every direction, "You're wrong. Give up. Be like us." In this noise, you can only stay on your feet if you have an inner compass that is more important than external opinions. This part is not about struggling with yourself for hours. It's about making a decision and never looking back. It is about the moment you stop asking for permission to exist. Conviction is born where your inner truth meets the lies of the outside world, and you refuse to step back even an inch, standing like a rock in a crashing tide. The inner Joan, instinct or decision. It is often said that Joan of Arc was special, a chosen one. But if we strip away the legend, we see a human being who simply refused to deny what she saw and heard. This is not a skill you can learn in a course. It is a choice. Within all of us, there is an inner Joan, a voice that knows exactly what is right and what is wrong. The problem is, we silence this voice too often because we fear the consequences. We choose the comfort of a lie over the pain of the truth. The forge of conviction starts to glow when you decide, your life will not be driven by fear, but by this inner certainty that no one can take away from you. It is the moment you realize that your soul is not for sale. Burn or conquer, there is no middle ground. The essence of the Caelan style is fire. And fire either burns you or it forges you. If you only stand up for your truth with half a heart, the world will burn you, it will suppress you, laugh at you, and sweep you aside. Weakness is an invitation for the world to crush you. But if your conviction is as hard as steel, then you will be the one to change your environment. Joan didn't win on the battlefield because she was a better soldier, but because her fire was hotter than that of her enemies. She didn't just fight, she transformed the very air around her. This is the secret: either you let the world mold you in its own image, or you will be the one who reshapes the world with your own inner truth. There is no safety here. There is no middle ground. You are either the fuel for the fire, or the one who holds the torch. The execution of external approval. The prison of like hunting. Why are you quieter than you should be? In today's world, most people are slaves to their environment. Every word you speak and every action you take is defined by what others will say about it. We wait for the nodding, the confirmation, the likes. We have become beggars, starving for a scrap of validation from strangers. But understand this: as long as you make your value depend on the recognition of others, you will never be free, and your words will never have real weight. External approval is like a leash. If you go too far with your truth, those around you pull on it, and you pull yourself back. The Caelan way begins with cutting this leash once and for all. You don't speak so that they will love you, but because the truth cannot remain locked inside of your chest any longer. The fear of rejection, the modern pyre. In Joan of Arc's time, the pyre was real. Today, the pyre is exclusion and ridicule. We fear that if we say what we think, we will be left alone, or mocked on social media. But for a warrior, ridicule is not an obstacle, it is fuel. If everyone agrees with you, then you probably haven't said anything important. Comfortable words never changed the world. Truly heavy words always birth resistance. Joan didn't go into battle to be popular. She was driven by her truth, even when her own side looked at her with suspicion. She knew that the roar of the crowd is fickle, but the command of the soul is eternal. If you are afraid of what they think of you, then you are living in the prison of your own cowardice, locking the door from the inside. Unleashing self-worth. Don't ask for permission. To have real power, you must stop asking for permission. Don't wait for the crowd to nod at your truth. Do not calculate your own value based on how many people agree with you, but on how faithful you are to your inner law. A lion does not look for the sheep's approval before he roars. Those who chase external recognition can be bought and silenced at any time. But the world must reckon with the person who has already executed the need to please. That is when you become like Joan, an unshakable force who can neither be bought nor intimidated. You are no longer a part of their game. You are the fire that burns the board. Your silence is over. Stand up, speak out, and let the world deal with the consequences. Forging the inner bastion. Steel instead of awareness, the inner law. Many people today talk about listening to yourself or finding your peace, but in times of trouble, this advice often fails. Joan of Arc didn't need a comfortable self-discovery course. She needed an inner law that was harder than the enemy's sword. The inner bastion is not a place where you escape from the world, but a fortress you build within yourself. This bastion is made of the principles you never, under any circumstances, surrender. Every no you say to a lie is another stone in that wall. If you do not have such an inner law, the storms of the world will blow you wherever they want, leaving you lost, broken, and forgotten in the dust. Courage is not a matter of practice. You often hear that courage must be practiced in small steps. But in reality, courage is not a muscle you grow in a gym, it is a split-second decision at the edge of the abyss. There are no small truths. Truth is a single heavy strike that either hits the target or fails. You cannot be half brave, just as you cannot be half honest. Joan didn't start practicing courage in small doses. When the time came, she stood up and acted. Do not make excuses like, "I'm not ready yet." Your strength doesn't come from practice, but from committing yourself to something greater than your own comfort. It comes from the moment you stop hesitating and finally burn the bridges behind you. The weight of words. When truth cuts deep. The walls of your inner bastion are built from your words. If you talk aimlessly, if you lie to yourself or others, the walls of your bastion will crumble. But if every word you speak has weight, if you only say what you truly mean, then people will feel the power within you. Joan's words weren't effective because she used beautiful language, but because everyone knew she would give her life for what she said. Her silence was a warning, and her speech was a command. This is the weight of the word. When you achieve this, you won't need tricks to be noticed. Your mere presence and your truth will be enough. The world will have no choice but to listen. Ignite your voice. The calling. Where is your battlefield? You don't need to put on armor and mount a horse to follow Joan's example. In 2026, the battlefield is at the dinner table, in workplace meetings, or on social media. It is there, where everyone remains silent because they fear the consequences. Ask yourself, where is that point in your life where your truth is suppressed by your comfort? Where is the place where your silence actually supports a lie? We often stay quiet to keep the peace, but that peace is a cage. The word of fire is not a theory, it is a practice. Your truth begins where you finally dare to say no to what is unworthy of you and your soul. The ripple effect, the power of a single brave person. Many believe that the word of a single person doesn't matter. But look at Joan. Her faith and courage shook an entire nation out of its apathy. Courage is contagious. When you are the first to dare to speak honestly and directly, you give strength to those around you to cast off their chains as well. You don't need to convince the masses. It is enough if you yourself remain unshakable. One candle is enough to shatter the darkness of an entire room. This is the ripple effect. Your inner fire can warm others, or it can ignite their own truth until the darkness is gone for good. Your mission. Don't look for the message, look for the battle. In closing, remember, don't spend your time trying to figure out what you should say to the world. Instead, find the battle that you must fight. Find the cause for which you are willing to risk recognition, peace, or even your safety. Joan of Arc didn't want to be a hero, she just wanted to be faithful to what she knew to be true. Let this be your standard as well. Do not make excuses. Do not wait for better times. The world does not need more followers. It needs more leaders who are not afraid to bleed for their beliefs. The fire is burning now, and the decision is in your hands. Will you burn out in the grayness, or will you shine as a torch for others? The time for hesitation is over. The choice is yours, and yours alone. Thank you for joining me today. If you are ready for the next adventure, subscribe, turn on the bell, and invite your brothers as well. The fire does not only burn for you, but for those who are still walking in the dark, those to whom your courage can bring the light.